A voice suddenly spoke, and someone recognized it as his brother. The teacher realized it was Hoshia Kawazan's brother, and the boy explained that he had come to retrieve the reference book he'd been using, then apologized deeply. The teacher proceeded to the next page. It was an online class. 2 students, a boy and a girl, were attending remotely. During the lesson, the teacher instructed them to read the next page aloud. The boy was introduced as Yoshino-kun. The girl apologized to Yoshino-kun, and Yoshino replied quietly. Both of them spoke in soft voices. Then the story introduced Hashiwa Haruka, describing her silky hair, fair skin, large, captivating eyes, and the features normally hidden behind the mask she wore outside. Up close, she was Hashikawa Haruka, rumored to come from an old distinguished family, top of their year, and the class beauty. A flashback showed a group of girls asking Haruka where she had been confessed to this time, and another girl asked how many it had been that month. Yoshino thought that because she was so popular in high school, he, Yoshino Kaneda, had assumed she was someone completely unrelated to him. That was why it felt unreal that Hashikawa Haruka was sitting right beside him. He wondered why she had touched him. Yoshino then asked if something had happened to the computer again. Haruka answered that it had been acting strange a moment earlier, smiling as she explained it. She added that the controls hadn't been responding properly, though they might be fixed now. Yoshino thought that she might be observing his reaction and wondered if she was enjoying it. He told her that it was good if things were working again. Yoshino kept thinking that this was troublesome, believing Haruka shouldn't casually touch someone's body. He thought that if he were full of worldly desires, he might have behaved differently, and hoped Haruka appreciated that he was a gentleman. Then Haruka touched him again, and Yoshino yelped when her hand reached his flank. Yoshino and Hashikawa were shown sitting together as Yoshino wondered if this situation meant she was boldly exposing her thighs. He worried he might be misunderstanding, and considered that Hashikawa Haruka might truly be unaware of her own posture. Yoshino thought that if she kept revealing them like that, a certain thought would inevitably form in his mind. He realized this was bad, and assumed Hashiwa Haruka would surely notice. Hashiya Haruka asked what was wrong, and Yoshino answered that nothing was wrong. Hashiwa Haruka noticed Yoshino's face was red, and asked if he felt unwell, and Yoshino said he was fine. Yoshino then wondered if he should brew some warm tea later, since Hashiwa Haruka wasn't good with machines and couldn't make it herself. The scene then shifted, showing the building, and Yoshino explained that it was Hashiya Haruka's house. 3 days earlier, in April of their second year of high school, they learned that an infected person had appeared, so the area needed to be disinfected. Yoshino thought the janitor must be struggling, and wondered when they would be able to enter again. Yoshino and an older man were talking, and the man explained that they couldn't go inside for the time being. The man added that from that day on, it had been decided that the dormitory would close. Yoshino reacted in shock, thinking about his belongings still inside. The old man explained that everyone else had already evacuated back to their hometowns just like that. Yoshino questioned how things had progressed so quickly, and the man said it would be awful if a mass infection happened, and he'd been told to inform students they should go home until the dorm reopened. Yoshino then asked if the man had forgotten about him, and the man apologized. Yoshino thought he had never imagined things would turn out this way. While he had been in the clubroom fooling around with the computer, everything had changed. Yoshino decided he would call his mother for the time being, but she said she was scared of getting infected and told him not to come home. Yoshino then tried contacting his friends, but his friends said his parents refused and simply wished him good luck. Yoshino found himself in a difficult situation. He considered going to an internet cafe, but the receptionist explained that high school students were only allowed inside until 10 p.m. He tried karaoke next, but was turned away again. He thought of staying at a hotel, but the price was far too high, and Yoshino only had 20,000 yen. The scene then shifted to Yoshino sleeping outside on a bench. He told himself he would sleep outdoors and that he wouldn't die just from enduring a night outside. It was spring, so the weather wasn't too cold. But then Yoshino noticed something. Someone was walking toward him. Yoshino realized it was Hashiwa Haruka from his class. Both Yoshino and Hashikawa Haruka recognized each other. Then the view cut out, and Yoshino felt as though their eyes had met. He wondered if he had imagined it. Hashikawa Haruka was then shown digging through a bag, taking out her phone, and reaching around for something. Yoshino wondered what Hashiya Haruka was doing. Meanwhile, Hashikawa Haruka thought that she was in trouble because she couldn't catch any Wi-Fi signal. Yoshino thought Haruka was sneaking around like a robot, and felt like she was glancing his way. Their eyes met again, and Yoshino confirmed to himself that they really had. Yoshino tried to speak, and Hashiya Haruka suddenly responded. Yoshino apologized, thinking he had startled her by talking so abruptly. Hashiya Haruka replied that it hadn't been abrupt and that she had simply been surprised. Yoshino acknowledged it, and Hashiya Haruka then asked if Yoshino-kun was Yoshino Kinatada from their year in Class A, explaining that since he wore a mask and it was dark, she hadn't recognized him. Yoshino wondered what was with the oddly forced casual tone, and confirmed that he was indeed that Yoshino. Hashiya Haruka reacted to his answer, and Yoshino wondered why she seemed so happy and whether she had always been like that. Hashiya Haruka pointed out that it was already dark and asked why Yoshino was there. Yoshino noticed that she had returned to her usual demeanor and explained that he had been planning to sleep outside. Hashikawa Haruka reacted in shock at the idea of sleeping outdoors. They kept talking, and Yoshino explained that he lived in the student dormitory, but Hashiya Haruka cut him off, saying she already knew because she had seen him coming out of the dorm before. Yoshino thought to himself that she had really been watching him. He then explained that someone in the dorm had been infected, so the building had been shut down, leaving him with nowhere to stay. Hashikawa Haruka asked about his family home, and Yoshino said his parents had told him not to return because they were afraid of infection. Hashikawa Haruka acknowledged it quietly. Yoshino then asked what Hashikawa had been doing, and she explained that she had come to catch a Wi-Fi signal. Yoshino was surprised, and Hashikawa Haruka said she had heard they wouldn't be able to attend classes starting next week without Wi-Fi, so she thought she could catch the signal here and bring it home. Yoshino explained that the public Wi-Fi in the park only worked in that area, and asked whether Hashiya Haruka had an internet connection at home and what kind of Wi-Fi she used. Hashikawa said she didn't know. Yoshino thought it was surprising, since she was supposed to be smart, and Hashikawa thanked him politely. Yoshino said she could probably figure it out herself, but Hashikawa Haruka said she couldn't because she was terrible with machines. Hashiya Haruka mentioned that Yoshino-kun was in the computer club. Yoshino realized she actually knew quite a lot about him, and Hashiya Haruka asked if it was okay for him to help her. She said she wanted Yoshino-kun, who understood computers, to teach her, and she asked politely if it wasn't too much trouble. Yoshino wondered if he was dreaming, thinking that the day when that Hashikawa would ask him for help had finally come. He agreed, saying it was fine if she was okay with him, and thought that helping Hashikawa Haruka was much better than sleeping outside alone. He then remembered they had talked about Wi-Fi before too. Hashikawa then said she wanted Yoshino to make the Wi-Fi usable at her home, and added that it wouldn't even take 5 minutes on foot. Yoshino asked about her parents' permission and the time, but Hashiya suddenly grabbed him and said her house was that way. Yoshino agreed, and thought that something about it felt a bit improper, but at the same time, strangely like a date. He asked if her house was really over there, and Hashiya confirmed it.